Half an hour before the mountain shook loose, Caleb Hart was following Luna's nose prints through knee-deep powder and listening to the dog's eager huffing. The air above the Swiss canton of Uri shimmered with late morning sun, but Caleb's radio squawked dire forecasts. Rising temperature, a gusty phone, unpredictable slabs. He tugged once on Luna's leash, his quiet way of saying stay close, then kept moving along the ridgeline, part of a routine training patrol. 200 meters below, Mira Zhao balanced her camera on a tripod of trekking poles. Her 3 million subscriber channel, Wild Path Mira, was starving for new drama after last month's cliff dive in Croatia. The Alpine locals had told her today was spooky for snowpack, yet the south-facing bowl behind her looked cinematic. A seamless white stage, sun splinters dancing on its surface. She checked audio, framed herself against the sweep of the slope, and flashed the grin that had won her the silver play button. What's up, Pathfinders? If you ever wondered what a perfect alpine amphitheater looks like, feast your eyes. The low groan reached her mic, a subterranean dragon twisting awake. Mira froze. Another growl came, deeper, longer, and the entire mountainside cracked. Farther up, Caleb felt it through his soles before he heard it. Snow settling with a sigh that becomes a roar. Luna, heel. He keyed his radio. Probable slide, Ho Egg Ridge, South Aspect, 2,200 meters. I'm in the zone. The radio fizzed back. Copy, Caleb. Evac if you can. But evacuation was no longer an option. The cornice beneath him crumbled. Snow launched downward like surf. Caleb unclipped Luna, shouting, Search! In case they got separated. The dog sprang ahead. Then the world tilted. White thunder swallowed man and shepherd alike. Silence after an avalanche is never truly silent. It rings in the skull, muffled, beseeching. Caleb blinked into darkness. One arm was pinned, but not crushed, the wristwatch's LED glowing weakly. 11:42. He wiggled a foot. Space. He could breathe. Pocket of air. Training took over. First, check spine, wiggle toes, flex knees. Pain flared in his left thigh. Muscle, maybe a tear, but not broken. He dug upward with his free hand. Powder fell, cold yet airy. A meter above, daylight winked. He breached the crust and coughed fresh air. Luna, he called. A distant whine answered. He hauled himself out, gasping on the debris field, and scanned. 50 meters downslope, a single black boot jutted from snow like a periscope. No other signs of life. No time to wait for backup. Caleb crab-walked, every shove searing his thigh. The boot belonged to a slender woman, partially encased, torso bent downhill, one arm buried, the other extended as if still holding an invisible selfie stick. Her mouth and nose were unobstructed. Her eyes, squeezed shut, flew open at his touch. You're alive, Caleb said. Camera, she croaked reflexively. That, too. But first you. He ran gloved fingers along her neck, shoulders. No obvious fractures. Can you move? Mira tried. Her left leg was locked by concrete-hard snow. Panic tightened her breaths. Hey, look at me, Caleb said, voice steady. I'm a mountain rescuer. Caleb, my dog's around here. We'll dig you out. She nodded, tears freezing on her lashes. Mira. Hi, Mira. Deep breath. He plunged the avalanche shovel from his pack into the debris, chiseling around her trapped leg. After tense minutes, the snow softened. A final heave freed her. She screamed, tibial pain. But she could bend the knee. Off to the side, Luna yipped triumphantly, tail pluming. She'd located Mira's olive-drab camera, miraculously intact, still blinking REC. The lens now captured the unlikely tableau. A rescue dog presenting salvaged tech to a buried influencer. That's new, Mira said, half laughing, half crying. Caleb clipped the camera to his harness unconsciously. "We need cover." Another slide could release. He pointed to a wave of hardened debris forming a hollow. "We make a snow cave there. Wait for heli." They crawled into the scooped shelter, Luna curling at their feet, her body heat immediate. Caleb radioed coordinates, then hissed at the answering static. "Line dead." The antenna must have snapped. He studied the sky. Wind had kicked up spindrift. Clouds muscled the sun. "Reception's gone. Might be hours." "Let me," Mira said. She fished a satellite beacon from her pocket. The screen had spider-webbed. Dead, too. Caleb gauged the bruising on her leg, deep purple, already blossoming. She'd walk, painfully, but downhill travel was suicidal when weather threatened. Hypothermia would finish them first. Better to shelter. Mira saw the math in his eyes. "So we sit." "We endure," he corrected. She fumbled for the camera, flipped its view screen toward him. "If I'm going to endure, I'm going to film it." "Seriously," she shrugged. "People watch me flirt with cliffs for adrenaline. Maybe they should also see what happens when the mountain flirts back." She pressed record again, framing them by headlamp glow. Day 0. Avalanche, with me as Caleb, a literal lifesaver, and Luna, the world's best retriever of expensive gear. Caleb offered a thin smile. In training, they taught him that talking, laughter, even forced, kept spirits from collapsing. If filming helped, let her film. Hours bled. They took turns scraping the cave walls to enlarge it, then sealed the entrance with packs, leaving a vent hole. Snowmelt dripped. Caleb's thigh cramped. Mira's leg throbbed. She asked questions to distract herself. Why dogs instead of drones? How many rescues had he done? What drew him to mountains? He answered in measured sentences, careful not to reveal the gnawing fear that radio silence meant nobody knew where they were. Then it was her turn. She spoke of Chinese-American parents who wanted a stability she never craved, of cities that blurred together once you started falling from their rooftops, of a restless itch that only risk scratched. She admitted the avalanche roar wasn't the first time death had breathed down her nape, but it was the first time she'd felt utterly powerless. The camera kept rolling intermittently, batteries conserved by tucking them into armpits for warmth. Luna slept, ears twitching. Night dropped like a curtain. The storm arrived, rattling snow grains against their fragile roof. Wind howled accusations. Inside the cave, they chewed energy bars, sipped slowly from Caleb's insulated thermos. "Rule of threes," Caleb muttered. 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. Mira filmed his face, lit by the lamp. "Where does love fit?" He startled. "Love?" Her eyes didn't flinch. "You risked your life for a stranger. Why?" "Because that's the job. Lots of jobs don't demand it. You chose this." He looked at Luna, rubbing the dog's neck fur. "Maybe. Because my father didn't make it off a mountain. I was 9. Rescue team arrived too late. I swore no one else's kid would wait like I did." The camera caught a rare falter in his voice. Mira reached and squeezed his hand, and the electricity of shared vulnerability zinged through the claustrophobic air. The wind outside wailed like a jealous ghost. Soon, exhaustion clubbed them senseless. They lay side by side, shoulders touching, Luna a warm barrier at their feet. In that cramped darkness, with death perched outside, their breathing found synchrony. Morning light seeped pink through the snow wall. Storm had passed, leaving an eerie hush. Caleb cracked the entrance, peered out, fresh meter of powder atop the debris. No rotor thumps, no tracks. Radio still dead. "We need higher ground for signal," he said. "There's a spur only a couple 100 meters up. Gentle angle. If we take it slow." Mira sat up, fighting a grimace. "Let's do it." They packed quickly. Caleb improvised a brace for her bruised shin using a broken pole and gauze. Mira clipped the camera to her chest harness. "Documenting day 1 of escape," she narrated between teeth chattering. Climbing felt like wading through cheesecake. Caleb broke trail, legs screaming, but he kept his pace within Mira's capacity. Luna darted ahead, sniffing for stability. Halfway, Mira slipped, sliding 10 feet before Luna blocked her descent. The dog's thick coat became a tow rope. Mira hauled herself upright, laughing shakily. "Add dog as co-star," she puffed. At the spur's crest, they saw the world again, peaks serrated against oceanic sky. And farther west, the faint tremor of a cell tower. Signal bars blossomed on Caleb's phone. Relief flooded him, dizzying. He dialed base. Voices overflowed with simultaneous reprimand and gratitude. A rescuer named Ava said a second avalanche had closed the access road, grounding helicopters. "But we're coming on skis!" ETA 3 hours. 3 hours felt swallowable until Caleb's knee buckled. The climb, the injury, the stress, all debts came due. He crumpled to one side. Mira caught him under the arms. "No heroic passing out allowed, Hart." "Just a cramp," he argued, though his vision tunneled. She eased him onto a foam pad from his pack, then rummaged for painkillers. Her fingers brushed the camera. She hesitated, set it targeting him. "Role reversal," she said, kneeling beside him. "Now I interview the rescuer on how to stay alive when he's run himself into the ground." He rolled eyes, but surrendered. She made him recount body scan checks, slow breathing, electrolytes. While he spoke, she massaged warmth back into his thigh, eyes intent. Camera record light blinked. Luna rested her muzzle on Caleb's chest, amber gaze fixed on the valley. Caleb's tremors eased. He squeezed Mira's wrist. "You're good at this. Administering first aid or storytelling?" "Both," he said. The honesty in his tone filled a space neither knew was empty. Mira glanced at the lens. "I turn it off when things get too real," she whispered. "Leave it," he whispered back. "Maybe real is what saves us." She swallowed. The red light kept blinking. Rescuers found them exactly where coordinates said. Bright jacketed figures materialized, skis hissing. Harnesses clicked, ropes unfurled. Caleb insisted Mira be loaded first. She protested. They compromised and shared the same stretcher sled. Bodies spooned for balance, while Luna loped alongside like a proud escort. During the descent cameras, GoPros on helmets, Mira's handheld, captured everything. Wind gusting powdered halos, the valley blooming with civilization. When they reached the ambulance, Caleb's radio finally crackled to life beside his ear, as if admitting defeat to a more reliable storyteller. At the clinic in Andermatt, they were declared lucky. Deep bruises, sprains, frostnip. No fractures, no internal injuries. Luna received sausage tribute from every medic in sight. That evening, Mira limped into Caleb's room, privacy curtain hastily repurposed as backdrop. She wheeled a laptop, editing software glowing. "Want to see a rough cut?" He shifted on his pillow. "Already?" "I edit when adrenaline's still fizzing. Helps me feel in control." She clicked play. The montage began with her pre-Avalanche monologue, sunlit bravado, smash cut to whiteout chaos, then the cave, the confessionals, the climb. The final frames, stretcher descent, panoramic sweep of dusk over the valley. Over black came a single title card. "Survival is the greatest adventure." Caleb exhaled. The footage was raw, shaky, but pulsed with humanity. "It's powerful." "I haven't added the part after rescue," she said softly. "I'm not sure what that story is yet." "Maybe it's 2 people figuring out why they're still here," he offered. Her grin crept sideways. "You volunteering to co-host the sequel?" Luna woofed from under the bed as if casting her vote. 3 months later, in a packed auditorium at an outdoor film festival in Banff. Cheers erupted when Mira and Caleb stepped onto stage flanked by Luna wearing a VIP bandana. Behind them, a giant screen froze on the poster frame. Caleb's hand clasping Mira's as they exited the snow cave, crimson flare of sunrise crowning them. The documentary, titled The Heartbeat Beneath, had run 30 minutes. It wasn't slick, no drones, no licensed soundtrack, yet its intimacy left viewers teary. Sponsors who once paid Mira for cliff dives now offered grants for safety awareness clips. Search and rescue donations spiked. Someone started a dire Luna Saves hashtag. During Q&A, a teenage girl asked, "Are you two together now?" The audience tittered. Caleb cleared his throat, gaze sliding to Mira. She held up the camera, recording the moment, and said, "Still fighting for life and experimenting with love. So far, both feel worth it." She leaned in and kissed him. Soft, sure. Applause thundered. Luna barked approval, tail drumming. Later, far from the lights, they sat on the lodge balcony, wrapped in a shared quilt. Pines whispered. Mountains rose ink black against stars. "I thought cameras annoyed you," Mira teased. "I thought adrenaline influencers were reckless," he countered. "Turns out at least one of them is stubborn, brave, and has surprisingly warm hands." She laughed, resting her head on his shoulder. "Where to next, Handler Hart?" He traced constellations. "There's an avalanche safety workshop in Patagonia this summer. Good slopes, thin crowds, good storytelling. Only if we come back alive." She bumped his knee. "That's kind of our brand now, isn't it?" Their breaths mingled in candle-wisp clouds. Past the balcony railing, the snowfields gleamed silver, innocent, as if mountains never swallowed anyone. Caleb tightened the quilt around them both. Luna sprawled at their feet, snoring lightly, the practiced guardian finally at ease. Mira angled her ever-present lens, capturing the three silhouettes: dog, rescuer, wanderer, family by accident, bonded by survival. She hit record, then set the camera on the rail and ignored it. "Off the record?" Caleb asked. She nodded. He kissed her, slow, intentional, tasting gratitude more than urgency. The camera kept blinking, ignored, while beyond them, the rocky peaks kept their silent vigil, understanding something the lens could only hint at, that life's thin margin is where love gets its sharpest focus. Months slip like snowmelt. They learn each other's rhythms. Caleb's dawn runs with Luna. Mira's late-night editing marathons, fueled by espresso. His quiet fixations on rope maintenance. Her exuberant brainstorming for next shoots. Conflicts spark. Over risk thresholds. Over camera in his face pre-coffee. But the avalanche taught them anger wastes oxygen. They calibrate, apologize, lean in. One November evening, Mira's phone pings. YouTube Rewind wants a segment on greatest survival stories. She rolls her eyes. Caleb notices. Tired of retelling it? Not tired, just worried it'll turn into clickbait. Lose the heartbeat we found. He slides a topo map across the table. Then let's give them a new heartbeat. A proactive one. His finger taps a red X in the Himalayas. Remote villages with no rescue infrastructure. Plan. Film community workshops. Donate proceeds to buy 2 Avalanche dogs for local teams. It fuses his calling and her platform. Mira's eyes well. Partner project? Life project, he corrects. She stands, cups his scarred cheek. On camera or off? Both, he says. And so, another story readies itself. One that begins not with an avalanche, but with intention. Yet sometimes, in quiet hours, avalanche ghosts return. Mira's nightmares slide her beneath suffocating snow. Caleb's morph into empty radio static. They share those midnight terrors, waking each other, then recounting them to Luna, who listens with solemn ears. Their antidote is presence. Fingers traced along warm skin, whispered reminders of here now, alive. One dawn, after such a night, they climb a ridge behind their chalet. Fresh snow, unbroken. Caleb runs stability tests. Results solid. Sun ignites the horizon. Mira sets the camera on a tripod, but doesn't turn it on. Instead, she inhales alpine cold until lungs ache pleasantly. Caleb wraps an arm around her. First tracks? She nods. Together, they carve slow, deliberate lines down the slope. Luna bounding beside. No epic jumps, no viral stunts, just three beings gliding under a sky that has forgiven yesterday's storm. Mid-descent, Caleb laughs, a sound Mira hasn't heard from him. Unguarded, childlike, it echoes off granite walls, startling birds into flight. She joins the laughter, carving closer until their skis spray interlacing arcs. Temporary signatures on an indifferent mountain. And for once, neither thinks about documentation, algorithm, or legacy. For once, living is sufficient evidence. At the bottom, they collapse into snow, arms flung wide, hearts thudding. Caleb turns his face toward hers. So, this is what thrill looks like without terror. Mira brushes frost from his eyelashes. Feels like love looks too. They stay until wind erases their tracks, until cold insists they move, until life, irresistible as gravity, pulls them toward whatever slope waits next. Together, recording or not, knowing the most enduring footage is the one that plays behind their joined eyes each time they recall the day the mountain tried to bury them and instead uncovered something ferocious and bright. Luna barks, circling impatiently. They rise, dust snow from shoulders, and follow the dog's sure path home,